Hello, Herlighters. It's Erin Foley back in the booth talking women's sports. Holy Olympics. Oh my God. We're 1 week in, and I feel like I've been, I don't know, watching them for the last month. I'm getting up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. The action is so heroic and amazing and inspiring. But wow, I'm just emotionally, physically, and spiritually exhausted, but in the best way possible because it only happens every 4 years, and it has been an just absolutely amazing to watch. So this is kind of the last podcast we're going to be doing on the Olympics. I have a fantastic guest today, Trish Suhr. She's just an awesome stand-up comic. She is also the host of Find My Country House on A&E and Hulu, which is such a fun show. She's like flipping houses and rebuilding houses. I mean, she's the jack of all trades. Back in the day, she used to co-host my other podcast a lot. So regulars, you will know and love Trish Suhr, and new listeners, you'll be obsessed with her very quickly. So we're doing an episode today of just as much Olympics as we possibly can, and I think you're going to love it. Before we jump in, two quick announcements. I will be doing daily Olympic coverage this week on Sirius Radio, Channel 93. What a joke with Papa and Fortune. It's been so much fun to go on every day and talk Olympics. So one more week of the daily action. Also, a quick shout out. I'm throwing a huge comedy benefit for the first women's sports bar in California. It's called Watch Me. It's in Long Beach, California, and we need to raise a ton of money for them. So I'm producing and hosting a show called Erin Foley and Friends, Saturday, August 17th in Los Angeles. 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's at Dynasty Typewriter in Los Angeles. But, however, wait for it. If you don't live in Los Angeles, you can stream the show. So that is pretty amazing. Buy a ticket, stream the show if you don't live in Los Angeles. All the information is on erinkfoley.com. That is my website, erinkfoley.com. It's under the tab called Tour. Those are my tour dates. I'll be putting more tour dates up as I get them. But Erin Foley and Friends, August 17th, a huge comedy benefit for Watch Me Sports Bar in Long Beach. I'm super fired up about this. Okay, people, the Olympics. Wow, I honestly just can't get enough. I'm just going to tell you about one quick moment and we're going to jump in. I had a crazy work weekend. All kinds of personal stuff came up, work stuff came up. I felt so overwhelmed and just exhausted, and I was just running around like crazy. And I thought, oh my God, like, how am I going to pull all of this off? And I know people experience this all the time, and I don't even have kids, so I don't know how anybody does it. But I had this moment of just feeling like overwhelmed and just basically overwhelmed. Like, how am I going to do all this? And I thought, if these athletes can train 4 years and swim 1,500 meters and sprint for, 100, 200 meters, if they can get on a balance beam, if they can flip over a vault, I can get my shit together. And I just had this moment where I channeled my inner Olympian. So that's what I'm suggesting everyone does. And it worked. I took a deep breath and I said, Erin Foley, channel your inner Olympian. And I got through the weekend. I know it's much lower stakes, but I'm just saying it worked. So everybody out there, if you're feeling overwhelmed, I would say just take a deep breath and just watch a little bit of the Olympics. You'll be so inspired. And then take another deep breath and say, channel your inner Olympian, and boom, you'll be back in action in no time. So that's a moment I'm taking away from the Olympics. My new mantra. All right, people, you are in for a treat. Trish is so fun, and yeah, just take a deep breath and buckle up because we try to cover. I think we did maybe 6 sports in an hour, but it was so fun to relive all these moments. So let's jump right in. Dun, 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 dun. I can never. Is that like a wedding?
It feels
It
wedding
feels like every
marchy.
time I do it, it feels wedding marchy instead of the Olympics. Trish, I am so thankful you're on this program because there are, back in the day we used to do this together, and I have the beautiful mind board up again to my right. There's
Yeah,
so much stuff. Please keep me focused. Let's
it's
just
my
jump right in.
favorite. It's my favorite time of year. I don't know what's more exciting. Uh, when you do the Olympics or when you do your fantasy baseball. Either way, your mind makes me joyful, and I will try to help in the round robin of our ADHD.
Let's do this. Okay. Obviously, listeners, there's 7,000 things that happen in a period of week with the Olympics. We're just covering women's sports. That's enough. So we're going to kick it off with gymnastics because of there was drama that happened this morning, but let's back it up. Here's what's going to shake down. We're going to do touch on the team gold, USA team gold, individual Biles with the gold, Suni Lee with the bronze. Then we'll touch on the individual stuff. And there's so much to begin, but here's what I want to say to you first. Congratulations to our U.S. gymnastics team. I think there is so much pressure when you're the favorite, and then you have to go in and stick the landing. And is there a more like amazing athlete than Simone Biles? I don't know.
No, there's not. I think we all can agree. You know, you're an amazing athlete when the other amazing athletes show up and have their phones out because they want to say they were their win. You know, you are next level mayhem. And what a beautiful, gorgeous, just taking care of yourself. Showing what it looks like to take care of yourself first and then go, you know what? Okay, hold my bear. Because that's exactly what she did. Yeah. She came back stronger. And I think too, this level of grace that's over her right now, that it's all going to work out. This doesn't really define her. It just makes her better. So she's got this lovely grace that is permeating across the entire gymnastic floor. So it doesn't matter your country. She is so lovely at this level of inclusion, which we'll discuss in a minute, how all the sports this year are making us just, I want to cry at the level of sportsmanship, and gives you great hope that we're all more alike than we're different. You know, that we all love each other and just want each other to do good things. But Simone Biles, let me just, 4'8". She gets this look on her face, and you see her do the woosah. You see the deep breath. You see her take it and go, "You've been here before, sis." And then she just launches. I have no other word, Erin, than launches into greatness. And every time I go, she can't get better than what she just did. And then she does it better than she just did. I don't know.
I think I just keep coming back to the amount of pressure these women are under from every country. But there is a specific pressure when you're the best going in, and you have 4 returning gymnasts from Tokyo, and then sweet Hesley Rivera, who's I have to fact check this. I think she's 9. She is a baby. So I can't even imagine what she's thinking. Like, you're looking to your left and it's like Jordan Chiles, Suni Lee. I mean, Simone, but I would just be losing my mind. But, you know, the experience she's getting right now for LA is tremendous. I also it's this crazy thing in gymnastics where you're competing. You have to be so competitive against each other on your own team. It's a
head game. That's right.
Yeah.
That's why I think Simone is so amazing, because she's got this lovely grace now. You see that I mean, Lord God, I'm not, I'm certainly not an Olympian, but we as comedians have a job that's a solo gig. And I mean, I'm not competing. I'm not going to stick the landing and do a better closer. We don't get that, but there is that level of I understand that level of solo pressure of I have to do it really well. And then you want to do yours really well. So I do anyway, so that I can breathe and go, oh, let me go enjoy everybody else. And you now see Simone really dial in, which in the past, she just had to be the best one. And now you see that she's settled into and is in her worth of, I am the actual greatest. And I think that's the shift that happened, that you watched her go. That's why I keep saying, hold my beer, because she really is at this place of honey, hold on one quick sec. Let me just go out here and grab a gold. I'll be right back.
Yeah. She definitely, I mean, her journey from twisties and to now just bringing it home. I first of all, I can't even imagine, but that's the thing to me. What's so amazing obviously on, let's say on the field, on all these apparatus on the field, let's just say on the field, she's the greatest of all time. But what separates her is this amazing transparency and willingness to talk about mental health. 100%. And Thursday before individual all around, she's like, I went to therapy. I think that really helped. Like, it's just normalizing these athletes. We put them on pedestals. They shape culture. And for them to be so open about their mental health and the need of therapy and the need of talking it out and saying, I went to therapy before I did the women's individual all around and she won the gold, is like something, I think it's just like a release for people. And you go, oh, okay, good. Yeah, I need to talk it out. How can I get better in my life? And I don't know. I just think she's like Mount Rushmore. Yeah.
I agree. And I think it also will hopefully change the conversation all the way through the Olympic, Federation Committee. I don't know the official title, but that your therapy, your mental health is as important as your physical coach that gets you across a finish line. So that's a tandem thing. That's not an either or. That's not a luxury. You're putting human beings under such a level of pressure. And my husband and I have been like glued every night. We've turned off all notifications and try to make it through the day because we're like, let's watch it real, even though clearly we know. And one of my dear friends, Summer Sanders, former Olympian. Well, she's still an Olympian, so Olympic gold medalist. She's never a former one, but she's there on the ground, and she'll text me, do you want me to? I go, no, because she knows how much I love the Olympics and how much I nerd. And I'm like, please do not tell me. So we are so invested right now in every level of watching everybody win. And then you realize some of these countries, Erin, our athletes don't make the financial gain that a lot of other countries do. I think that's the other thing that's probably not been spotlighted the same. Some of them will get houses and we'll be able to live comfortably forever in other countries. And our athletes may get a couple of endorsement deals or whatever, but they're not getting it's a very different kind of layout. Not that being from America and doing well in the Olympics is bad, but it's been really interesting learning. Like some people, if they don't make a cut, they've got to now like join the military.
Yeah.
Go, this is my life's changing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just unbelievable. And the beauty also about the Olympics is I have now become obsessed with Rebecca Andrade, the Brazilian gymnast.
Her backstory, I cried like a baby.
Backstory. This is Trish. This is now, you and I were texting, I think last week about this, and I was screaming about this on stage 3 days later. The announcers are killing me, absolutely killing me when they're about to do the first time it happened in the men's side, but then I was like, so I'm like used to it. But then of course I just binged all of the women, and the point where I lost my mind and I put it on mute, and I'm not even going to name the announcers because one's a former Olympian and she's a national treasure, but I don't
agree with her tactics.
I don't want her to announce it because it was just too painful. But when Biles is on the beam and she's about to do like 3 backflips, and the announcer's like, okay, I'm going to exaggerate for a second, but like, oh, this is where she blew out her knee and figured out she was adopted. And you're like, what? And I can't. I'm already losing my mind. The balance beam is 4 inches. I have a size 11. I couldn't even get on the beam. My feet would probably wrap around like an alligator. And I'm losing my mind. I'm sweating. I'm pacing. I don't want to know how they blew out their knee in this event. Just let me lose my mind.
Do you two back on the bus anymore? Because I think all the announcers at the Olympics need to go.
They need to go back on the
bus. I said this to my husband last night, y'all. We were sitting there watching, and same thing. We were watching the competition, and I couldn't believe how they just go down negative Nancy telenovela land.
Yes.
Like, well, it's a shame that they came from so little. And we were like, what does happen? What do you mean they overcome adversity to be? Could we just cheer for them? Or the worst part, in my personal opinion, is these athletes have trained their butts off. They get here. I don't care if it's the pool. I don't care if it's on the beam or the bar. And then the announcer gets right up next to him and goes, well, you didn't do what you thought. How do you feel about LA? What God's name? Just get a letter. They're still breathing deep. They have red cheeks, and you're worried about Los Angeles.
They're like, I swam here. from Australia just to compete. How do I feel about LA? Yeah, no, I forgot. All right. So I missed my train of thought there. But what I was going to say is Rebecca Andrade, when, obviously I want everyone to do well. Honestly, I want
Yes.
everyone to do well. But, you're like, as an American, you're all in with Biles, like you're all in with Suni Lee. So this is the individual, all around.
Oh,
And then they pull out Rebecca Andrade's story when Lee or Biles is on the beam or the vault or whatever. And they lean in, and I'm like, you motherfuckers.
mhm.
And they say, well, Andrade, and then they lower their voice and they're
Uh-huh.
like, born in a favela
Right.
in the most dangerous area you can grow up in. She is, one of 8. Her brothers walked her to practice, so she could get to practice. And I'm like,
And her
well,
mom gave up her bus money so that
I,
the daughter could go to practice. Then they didn't have enough for anybody to go to practice. And then
and I'm
she
like, I'm
moved.
supposed to now cheer for Biles and Suni Lee after that.
It, it, and you go, can't we we'll just cheer for everybody? I mean, you've got to cheer for everybody. And then you're like, can't we everybody get the gold? Because are you kidding me?
And she's always coming in second to Biles. 4 years ago, she came within 1/10 of a point to Suni Lee. And I'm losing my mind. Like, am I the biggest a-hole in the world to be still cheering for Biles and Suni Lee after that? I just was like, okay, could you just, don't say that while Biles is on the beam or, Suni Lee's on the uneven bars. It's like then the next, it's like a whatever, Chinese player, Ukraine, whatever it is. It's like, especially the Ukraine, anyone from Ukraine, obviously I'm
I'm
going to cheer
crying.
for immediately.
That
They're
was
like, oh,
last night.
she grabbed the bar. Our family was destroyed in the war against, and you're like, I can't.
We were watching high jump last night, and the Ukrainian, forgive me for not knowing her name.
I know I can't
Gold.
pronounce her name against the Australian. Yes.
Yes, and thank you. And
Yes.
I'm Southern, so I'm going to jack it all the way up. So I'm going to
No,
be
I can't. She was
okay.
amazing. Yeah.
She was amazing. And every time she went over to the, side when it wasn't her turn to like calm herself down and get in her little sleeping bag to keep her little teeny tiny body warm because she didn't wipe at nothing. And she goes over there, and my husband and I both were like crying, crying.
Yeah.
He goes,
Yeah.
she has to win. We were so invested.
Yes.
So invested. And then the president of Ukraine just comes back and goes, we Ukrainians are made of strong people. I'm like,
no, I can't. I got to share this text with you because it's
please.
Mary Foley.
Oh, I love Lord have mercy. Have
and
I
longtime listeners, you would know the Mary and Dick updates. So this is Mom's text about an hour ago.
Oh.
So many feel-good results from the Olympics, like the 2 golds for the first time, Hungary and Ireland. How about the woman from Ukraine who won the gold for high jump and looks like a model? Her mom was happy she was in training camp and not in the UK with her to hear all the bombings. Mom. She signs every text, Mom.
Just in case you didn't know it was her. Bless her angel.
Love and I was like, that's what I mean. Her mom's like, oh, I'm glad she's training so she doesn't have to hear all the bomb. And you're like, oh my.
And it just brings you right back.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we're so blessed in this country to have athletes that we get the privilege to sit and root for and eat tortilla chips and salsa on our sofas and go, yay.
Yeah.
Where there are people literally being bombed, having to root their child on, and didn't have the ability or the funds to get there to cheer their child on in person. And this was why we cried last night. I was telling y'all, she wins, she goes for the gold, and there was nobody there with her because she, they are a war-torn country, and she had to go get her own flag of her country out of her backpack. To then one was there to hand it to her, and
I can't.
Started bawling. My husband and I both. I was like, I'd have gone over and handed everybody their flag that needed a flag. Like, I'd have stood there with 653 countries are in the Olympics, but I was like,
oh my God.
Girl. Yes, I became everybody's aunt wanting to bring them orange slices. And
absolutely. That's the thing. I think we should start like some sort of GoFundMe or Kickstarter to get that. And I apologize for not knowing your name. I'm looking at her name, but I cannot pronounce it. And
I know
I'm too
I can't
terrified.
Either. Me too.
But that Ukrainian high jumper, we need to get her over here and have pay for a 2-week vacation for her and her family. She was,
or wherever she wants to go. She might not want to come here.
She might not want to come here. I totally hear you. But the Australian high jumper also, it was fascinating because after every jump, did you see her taking notes like in the journal?
Yes.
Of like, they're like, oh, I guess she's taking notes of like what to do next. But there was also like drawings. There was like sketches. And I'm
It
like,
was a beautiful mind.
I was like, I want to know what's in that book. I was dying to know what's in the book. But yeah, so Biles takes gold. First of all, USA team gymnastics gets the gold. And I know we were expected, but I felt so proud of them because there is this extra layer of intense pressure. Also, that was the first time Biles was performing. It was the first time competing, not performing, competing since the Twisties. And it's the team. She had to pull out of the team 4 years ago. She felt like she let the team down. So I was just like, oh my God, the amount of sweat of just walking around my apartment, losing my mind.
And also shout out to the Chicago Bears for letting her husband out of training camp.
Jonathan Owens, yes.
I mean, like just a big shout out to the Bears because that's a class act move. I realize it's the heart of training camp for NFL, but just wanted to say his joy level, and you could almost see the wave of peace because he wasn't able to be there the first night for her and was there the second night, and you just saw that kind of like wave of calm. So shout out Chicago Bears. Okay.
All right, I'll root for you at least a couple of games this season. So Andrade takes the silver. It was neck and neck between Biles and Andrade. And then Suni Lee takes the bronze. And then a couple days later, we start, and Suni Lee under an immense amount of pressure because she was the gold medalist in Tokyo. And she's she's now competing against, like, Biles and Andrade are going to go down as like some of the greatest of all time. But now Suni Lee is going to go down as one of the greatest of all time. So I was so proud of her. Like the pressure of repeating. She's so graceful. I just love her so much.
And that her actual mantra, y'all, which I thought was really impressive for her, is just be average, meaning her mental. And because when I first heard that, I thought, what are you talking about? You're a freaking Olympian. Nothing about you is average. But because of the way they're judged and scored, she was like, I just have to make the average. The two numbers really match for her. Like my average is what matters. So if I always keep the average, I'm going to do well. And I thought, girl, whatever you need to tell yourself, right? Like that level of grace. Because 8 months ago, you didn't even know if you were going to be able to do this because of your kidney
injuries and the kidney. And oh God.
And I just thought, what an amazing human being, that the thing you needed to calm yourself was just be average, but get that. And I was like, you're not average, but I was like, good, okay, Trish, not everything means the same to you as it does to them. And shout out to all the nail techs keeping our Olympians real quick.
The
nail game. And last night Suni, she broke that nail on the uneven bars, and I was like, oh Lord, she had a broke nail flying through the air. Didn't stop her, honey. Didn't stop meddling. One broke nail, get out of here. So anywho, shout out to the nail techs keeping Team USA in the game.
Yeah, and we'll do Sha'Carri's nails and half of the U.S. Women's national team nails. We'll get to that. So just when you think the pressure and the excitement can't, get any better, this morning, so we're recording this podcast Monday. What is it? August? Are we done with this year? Are we still in 2024? Monday, August 5th, right? So the new episode, when you're listening to it, it will literally be tomorrow. So this morning I get up. I didn't get up at 3 a.m., but of course I don't check scores. I started watching it probably like 6:30. My partner, Sarah, has just absolutely had it with me, by the way. And I totally get it. Every time she like gets up, I'm already on my computer in the other room, in the bed watching. And she's like, do you have time to walk the dog? I'm like, yes, maybe.
I'll switch my phone.
Maybe in an hour. So this morning we have the last two individual events. We have beam and floor. Let's just say this. Thank God it's over, because I can't. The beam to me is just
so much
I can't.
Pressure.
I can't.
Because I don't care how good you are. Everyone has a wobble on beam.
Everybody.
Everyone. It's the time. Look, I have a size 5.5, 6, if my feet are swell, foot. I have elf feet, and I was wretched at beam. I was wretched, and I've got stunning balance. What they're doing up there is
impossible,
unnatural, and they're amazing. Okay.
Just to stand on the beam. I can't literally stand on a beam. And then they're doing backflips. So it didn't, listen, everybody had a little slip up. Andrade, Biles, Suni
Alice
Lee,
D'Amato from Italy too, who
they
amazing.
all you know, it didn't work out in our favor, but congratulations, 1, 2, 3. I mean, good for them. New people medaling. I loved it.
That's true.
I didn't want anybody to fall off, but it's okay. So I was like, okay. So now Biles now is going to floor. And now Jordan Chiles is going to floor and Rebecca Andrade is going to floor. And I'm like, oh my God, like Biles didn't do well on beam. Like this is probably her last event. So I'm losing my mind.
All the feels. Yes.
I can't think of, except for the two people that didn't medal, a more exciting, dramatic filled ending to the gymnastics, as if the first week wasn't enough. So if you're listening, you haven't seen it, Biles goes out and just tears it up. Just amazing. Like sticking, like just an amazing routine. And you're like, how does she do it again? Right? So then Rebecca Andrade goes out, and I don't think a better flow routine could be done.
Nah, because I watched it twice this morning and I was going, was this real life? It looks AI.
It does look like I don't think, honestly, past, future, present, you will see a better. Do yourself a favor. If you don't have Peacock, I think it's probably on YouTube by now.
It's on YouTube. That's how we watch it.
First of all, watch all the floor. But so she goes up. It was the most beautiful thing. The height she gets and the grace and the moves and then sticks and every landing and the joy. She was having so much fun.
Yes. I started going,
oh my God. I was like, she has to get gold. And she got gold. Okay, so she gets gold. And I was so happy. It was the first gold medal of her life. I'm losing my mind. So Andrade gets gold. Simone Biles gets silver. Now, then like 3 other people. Now there's I think a Romanian. I do believe a Romanian was in third, right? Third place for bronze. And then Jordan Chiles gets up, and she is just one of my favorite. Like her power and her sass, and then she does that wink, like right in the corner. She wink. I love watching her. She's so fun to watch. I find her so compelling. She goes out and I think just nails it.
Yes.
I mean, not on the level of Andrade and Biles, but very, very close.
It was a solid floor routine for sure.
Okay, I've got numbers, Trish.
Okay, because I brought Erin numbers to me. She goes, you need to watch this. I said, oh, okay, sure. This morning I'm having coffee just to roll y'all into this. Because again, husband and I like turn everything off, watch it at night. Erin
I didn't know you did. You watched it.
But that's okay because we're doing this today. So today was
okay.
So I said, okay, let me go give this a watch. So my husband's nowhere near me. I've got the computer. I've got the AirPods on, y'all, just to give you backstory to this moment. Then I go, and he's looking at me and I go, don't worry. Like, I'm giving this air.
Does he not know what happened? Or did you tell him? Okay. No. Okay.
So I say, oh, we've got to figure out what we're going to eat tonight. Because I realize we are going to be hunkered down in front of the television with full provisions. Because what Erin's about to explain to you, I bust into full tears. It was a moment for the ages. Yes. Go, Erin, go.
Okay. Trish, I'm a numbers gal.
I love a stat.
I love a stat.
E. Foley lives for a stat, and I live for Erin Foley giving a stat. Go.
All right. Here's the ultimate nerd alert. She gets off the floor and she scores 13.666. It's good for 5th place. And the whole time I was like,
that's
wow. Yeah. Now, I don't know what is about to happen. All I know is, okay, well, that's a bummer because I felt like she really nailed it, right?
Yeah.
But everyone was so good. And I don't have a discerning eye when it comes to, floor routines. I just thought I don't know.
I just felt like it should solid.
Yeah. So then I don't know what's going on. The team submitted a lot of hubbub. I didn't even know this was possible gymnastics. Team submitted an inquiry. Okay. So first of all, you submit a verbal inquiry followed by a written inquiry and can only occur after the gymnast's final score has been posted. So the score's posted, 13.666. Then they see the score. Then they can submit an inquiry. It's verbal, and then it also has to be written to the judges. Yes. Trish has got her hand up, everybody.
I've got my hands up, everybody.
Yes. Question from the audience.
Erin Foley, quickly. So do you just keep like a pre-formed letter of inquiry in your bag? Because no one's sitting on a cocktail napkin going, "Hey, bro, what's up?" Like, how do you write a written?
Yes.
I'm just quickly wondering that.
Well, no, that's an excellent question.
Okay, thank you.
Because I had the same thought. And now this is what happened. They had an inquiry in the difficulty score. Apparently, there's a move called tour jeté full. I don't know. I just wrote it down. I'm reading. I'm Jete. I went with the jeté.
I like the French twist.
Tour jeté. Isn't that
the
bath?
perfume that my mama had in her bathroom?
Yep. Yep. Okay, so it's one of the elements in the routine where Team USA felt it was not properly scored. Now, here's the answer to your question. Chiles didn't get credit for the move in both qualifications and the team final. So they must have had this in their pocket looking for that specific move. So that's what happened. Since she didn't, they were looking for it.
I have cold chills. What?
So the judges agreed that she did not get credit for that move. They gave her a 0.1 increase. It went to 13.76, 766, and she wins the bronze. It was nuts.
Y'all, when I tell you I was screaming and crying with my AirPods on, my husband still doesn't know. So tonight, when we watch this, I'm going to cry all over again.
Yeah.
And now I've got the true backstory because E. Foley loves.
Yeah.
You love a receipt. I love you for
it. So then I went down on a nerd
nerd
deep dive on how gymnasts is be judged. So there's 9 judges. There's a D panel that's for difficulty. There's 2 judges. Oh. There's an E panel for execution. That's 5 judges. And then it wasn't very clear. There's a reference panel. Maybe those are the other 2 judges that do neutral deductions and some other thing that I'm probably explaining wrong. But I love that there's a D panel, an E panel, and a reference panel. So they submitted this to the D panel for difficulty, and they agreed that they didn't give her credit for that move.
There's going to be a lot of paperwork in the future. And I think you're exactly right. They had that all typed up.
Yeah.
They had that in the bag. It's in a cute envelope. And they were just awaiting. Or does every single gymnast have their stuff in a bag? And they're like, girl, just give me a reason. I'm going to shake this envelope at you and be like, yeah. And do you have one for each? Difficulty, execution, reference? Do you have 3 separate? I'm so in this nerd hole.
Right? Isn't this the ultimate nerd hole? So then the Romanian, they also did an inquiry just to double check her score. Sure. Good for them, because why wouldn't they? Yeah. And they were like, no, that was her score. And so then all of a sudden the camera's on Chiles and she explodes. And then you see Simone Biles going, no way, oh my God. And then everyone starts screaming and cheering, except for everybody that lives in Romania. And Chiles gets the bronze. I'm crying. But I felt heartbroken for that Romanian gymnast.
No, because what if she has to be one of those people who has to go join the military or work in the salt mines?
But in all fairness, it wasn't scored correctly. I just wish it didn't happen in that fashion for that Romanian gymnast. So Romania, as a country, really pissed off, but Jordan Chiles fans very happy.
It was really, I've got to tell you, I can't wait to watch the whole epilogue of it this evening. I need to see the whole full through and through. And you and I have a show together tomorrow night. This will probably end up being what we do.
Yeah, we're just going to be screaming it. Anyway, so what an amazing, crazy way to end the gymnastics. Men's and women's both were incredible. Obviously, this podcast is about women's, but I did just sidebar nerdily fall in love with Steven with the glasses on the pommel horse.
Precious pie. And you know what? Precious. Shout out again, we're doing all women, but I will say this to me this year was the most beautiful showing of kids today, little kids today watching. Whatever's going on with you, I think of Noah Lyles. If it's asthma, if you've got glasses on, if you feel like you're struggling with your mental health, I'm gonna cry. Every kind of human can be an Olympian. And I love what Noah Lyles said after he won gold last night. Yeah. Why not you? Why not you?
He's like, I have depression and ADD and asthma. And he's like, it won't define you. Oh God, I'm crying. Okay.
I know. I'm crying.
Here we go.
Said, not you. Let it be you. You can do it too. And I'm like, that is what sport is about. I'm gonna vomit because we're all, you know what? Everybody's just trying to figure it out. Watching a sweet baby in a pair of glasses swing around on a pommel horse.
Oh, and then he's like doing Rubik's Cube. I can't even. I can barely add these days. Okay, here we go. We have so much to cover, so let's do some speed rounds.
Okay.
I always love at the end of the Olympics looking back and I go, okay, what did I not expect to like really get into and then just surprise and now I'll be addicted to for the rest of your life, for the rest of my life?
Tell me.
Rugby, women's rugby.
Oh,
Rugby 7.
Who knew? Who knew?
I mean, I had watched what the crazy thing is with social media, the clips I have seen from Rugby 7, I didn't even know, I just call it rugby. Obviously, there's different versions of rugby, I'm assuming.
Rugby 7 is the 7-man or 7-person team.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I have seen online were clips, and of course I joined their group. This was like probably a year ago because I was obsessed with the New Zealand women's rugby team. And they do the haka ceremony after, which is I'm just obsessed with, right? So that's how I know rugby, just from like clips and the haka ceremony in New Zealand. I loved it all. So I started watching like some clips of the US. There's just so much to cover. I'm trying to watch all the stuff. And, so then when I started really paying attention was probably like, I don't know, quarterfinals or something. And we beat, I don't know, pick a country, Canada or something. So then I sit down, the games are so fast, and we kind of have to do a speed version of this, but they play New Zealand for the semifinals, and they started out really well, and I'm like, can we beat New Zealand? Okay, we couldn't. Then we got killed. And I was like, okay, totally fine. New Zealand is like, I hate to use this reference, but like, the Tom Brady of rugby, or the Simone Biles of women's gymnastics.
Biles, there you go. Simone Biles of women's gymnastics.
So then we go into to the bronze medal match. I'm beyond invested. I've done deep dives on all these women. And we play Australia and we're playing really good and it's neck and neck. And then this play, I will go down. It will go down as one of my all-time favorite, not only sports memories, but Olympic memories. And if you haven't seen it, go find it. It's all over my Instagram. And that is the last play of the game. We are down by 5 points. It is like, I don't know, either 19, whatever. I can't even remember.
It ends up being 12-12, right? It ends up
so it was 12-7. It was 12-7. And we're talking, there was 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8. And I didn't realize you could score like after the clock is over.
It's if the play is in motion, right?
Yes, the play is in motion.
Yeah.
So they get into this, like, they're passing the ball all right. So let's just everybody visualize a football field and they are in their own end zone, essentially, because I don't have I'm going to start doing a rugby deep dive, but I don't have the language.
Yes.
Essentially, they're in their own end zone with 5 seconds left, 4 seconds left, but they can keep going. I'm looking at the clock and I'm looking at this play. Trish, I'm not going to lie. I was like, it was a good effort. We got 4th place. That's nothing to hang your head. Like, because the game's over.
Yeah, you're already there mentally.
So they pass it back. They get into the little scrum. Ilona Mayer, one of our stars, she gets the ball out. They pass it to, and her nickname is Spiff. Spiff Cedric. Gets the ball, and I'm like, I'm already like, I'm going to follow these women on Instagram. What a great effort. Okay, out of nowhere.
My bear.
She just dodges like 7, the other 6 women running at her, just dodges them.
Wheels.
Runs.
She was like on fire.
100, essentially, I don't know if it's 100 yards, whatever. It's like the length of a football field, it looked like 70 yards, 80 yards, 90 yards, all the way. There is no time on the clock. I'm screaming because this I did actually watch in real time. She runs all the way down the field, ties the game, and I'm going, does it count? Like, I don't know. I don't know the rules. It's now 12-12. And now all our teammates are like, literally, there's one Sammy Sullivan who now I'm obsessed with on Instagram. She's like, you could see her. Now I'm going to start swearing, talking to her teammates. She's like, shut up, shut the fuck up. Because they have to score. They have to now punt the ball through the uprights.
Yes.
Like essentially an extra point in football. Same player, Cedric. She scores. She punts the ball in through the uprights and they win 14-12. And I lost my mind. I lost my mind.
Oh, It's funny you say that because you just said what I thought beautifully. I know enough football, obviously American football.
Yeah.
So watching it, I didn't know the rules, but I am flipping out and I'm like, this can't be all. We're tied. Like, I don't know what comes next. So I also had this weird anticipation of like, we're out of time. Do we go into overtime? Like, I don't know the rule structure.
Yeah.
So I'm just freaking out. I'm like, and my husband and I are like, I go, do you know? He goes, do I look like I know rugby? And like, he's from Georgia. We're both like, what do we do? He's Googling rules. And I'm like, we don't have time. Like, we were going to be called in to help. And we both said the same thing. We've got to now learn rugby. I've got to know.
So the crazy thing is, just from watching 2 games before, I picked up just like your bare basics, right? Your bare basics. That's not what is it? Your
about right.
Your
bare minimum. I don't know.
Bare. I don't know. So when you score, when you're running and you score through, like when you're running and you go under the upright, just picture like a
goal
field goal,
straight up,
right?
Field goal.
But there's 2. You can score to the right and to the left, but if you go right through the middle, that's where you really want to score, because then the extra kick, it's probably not called extra kick, but let's say extra kick. You line up. That's the easiest kick to make. You line up right in front of it. If you score to the right or left, the extra kick comes from a crazy angle, and 2 or 3 players have missed those kicks throughout these games because it's a really very long, hard angle. So when she was running down the field, she obviously,
by design.
She went through the uprights so she could get the easy kick.
I love that.
It was...
She even had to run by design. So it wasn't just hauling butt down the field.
It was hauling butt, but she had to go through the uprights to make the kick easier. And the whole thing was insane.
If you haven't watched it, YouTube it. It's one of the best sports moments. The greatest was showing, again, social media, thank you, was on NFL's social. They were showing a bunch of guys at training camp that play at all training camps across the NFL. And watching all these different running backs go, what? Oh, can we sign her? What is her deal? Is she under contract? Because she, like, so many guys were screaming, and it was just the beauty of sport. I love watching anybody just get jazzed over that level of athleticism.
And there were so many feel good. Sammy Sullivan, Alev Kelter, they were so badass. The head coach, Emily Bidwell, the only female coach in Olympics coaching rugby.
What?
One female. Our coach is the only female coaching female rugby at the Olympics right now. And then Ilona Mayer, you gotta, I sent you this 700 people. I saw this before the Olympics started, or maybe because she had taped this a while ago. But Trish, tell us about it. But Ilona Mayer, one of our huge stars, in social media, she's got like gazillion fans.
She posted that video. 669,000 followers. So a huge following going into the Olympics. Just 670,000 followers, let's say. Right now she's at 2.1 and counting million.
Amazing.
That's what an impact she's made for what everybody's got a different body being an athlete. And she has done these gorgeous videos. She put up a very emotional one. Erin sent it to me. I've had a lot of people send it to me too, and I love it. That she was just really, I don't love that she was upset, but she was upset because people have are ignorant, I guess, for lack of a better term.
So ignorant.
Don't think that you can be 5'10" and 200 pounds and be a baller and that you're an Olympian, because that's not traditionally in their mind what an athletic body looks like. Suddenly it's someone who's probably got inflammation and full of macaroni and cheese coming up to tell you that you are not an Olympian. And you know what, Ilona, they're buttholes. And I apologize, because if there's everybody can be an Olympic body. If we've learned anything in the 2024 games, is from a pregnant mama with an archery bow in her hand, out, shout out to Azerbaijan, or you're out there fencing 7-8 months pregnant. Think about those badass babies that are about to be born Olympians. I think what's impressive is everything's getting turned on its head. I mean, even Simone Biles, you remember, I know in our lifetime, if you were 19, they're like, well, she's a wash-up gymnast. Now Simone's out there at 27 going, maybe I'll do LA. We'll see how I feel. Go ahead, sis. I mean, and even Djokovic out there yesterday at 37 years old. I know we're doing women only, but he won at 37 years old, men's. That's a huge deal, because athletes have a very short shelf life. And I think even Ilona saying, don't be hateful. You have no idea what anyone's body is capable of. And that makes her even more magical beyond being an amazing rugby player. And I hope that she goes on to be, well, she can do whatever the hell she wants to do. You know, she just brings so much joy. And I think this Olympic Games is the first time I've ever seen this level of inclusion and sportsmanship. Even if it was there before, no one took the time to show it on camera like they have now. And I think there's something really powerful in that level of community, because media tries to play that we're all divisive and against each other across the world. And I think more alike than we're different. I really do. And I love watching that level of sportsmanship from everybody, from everybody. I mean,
absolutely.
it's crazy.
Well said. And Ilona, let me just tell you this. Part of that video too is everybody was leaving all these hateful comments that she was a man. You look like a man. And she just like was so upset and saying, this is my body and every body is beautiful. It doesn't matter if you're, 300 pounds, 200 pounds, broad shoulders, like whatever. She was like, this is what I look like. And I'm a woman. I'm not a man. Like, it was so despicable. And she handled it so gracefully. And she's such a role model. And people have problems with strong, physically fit women. They've had
110% ever.
We're seeing it on every level, more men than women, but some women obviously probably are. I doubt there's a lot of female trolls looking at her body saying that's a terrible body. I'm sure it's mostly gross men, but it was amazing. So not only these women, and then just to wrap it all up, Michelle Kang, who has just, if you don't know her, she owns the Washington Spirit. She owns the French soccer team. She owns all these. Her investment in women's sports is unparalleled. She's a billionaire. Gave the USA rugby team $4 million to invest. Every year she's investing in $1 million so the rugby team in LA can go for the gold. It was just like the most wonderful. And I just thought, like, God, what a moment, because if Cedric doesn't score and we don't get the bronze on that level of play, that doesn't happen,
That's right.
It's like one play, one moment. And now, because in New Zealand and Australia, where traditionally like women's rugby and men's rugby are like celebrated, it's just like, in our country, it's just gaining popularity. But now that team put women's rugby on the map and a $4 million investment. I mean,
can I tell you, or you like me, all I kept thinking, because I can't stand there while they're at these Olympics, instead of giving all these athletes their moment, all they keep bringing up is LA. I'm like, can you give them a hot second? Like, good Lord. It's like when somebody has a baby and somebody goes, so when are y'all having the next baby? It's like, good Lord. They just worked their butt off. They've trained for 4 years for these last, 28 seconds of life. And you're like, that was cute. Well, how about LA? I'm like, what? But are you also worried? Where in the hell are we going to put everybody in LA? Like, where's the rugby field going? I keep going, where are we going to put everybody? All I keep stressing about. I feel like I'm having a big dinner party. Yeah. And I don't know where to seat everybody. As an Angelino, I keep going, how far out are we calling LA? Are we going with Ventura County, Riverside? Like,
we're going wide and deep.
They're going wide, honey. I was like, people are going to be up in Big Bear doing stuff off of mountains, and they'll be like, this doesn't feel like LA. I'm like, yeah, because it's not. We needed y'all to be able to have clean air and land. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to put rugby.
A little congested. I think we're just going to have to start, Dodger Stadium is going to be hosting, every type of different event.
And they keep saying that SoFi, which is where our LA Rams play, y'all, here in California.
It's going to be swimming and track.
They said swimming and track. So I'm like, where are we putting rugby? Like,
rugby will probably honestly be, I think they'll probably, I think USC and UCLA facilities are going to be used, I mean, the Ontario airport that closed 20 years ago is going to be.
Thank you. That's why I was like, are we shutting down tarmacs for this, y'all? Like, let's have a family meeting. And then they're like, hey, we're going to put the skate park out in the LA basin. Okay. I used to live in the LA basin, y'all. That's a crappy word for the Van Nuys airport. We're going to put skateboarders out in 110-degree heat where they're going to vomit on a just side street. I was going, y'all, we ain't ready. So anyhow,
interesting. It's going to be interesting. Well, they already farmed out, the softball to Oklahoma, but don't get me started because let's just, I don't want to get angry. We have 3 more sports to cover real quick.
Okay, sorry, y'all. I had to take that quick interlude. It stressed me out because they keep bringing it up.
Absolutely hear you. Okay. Three things I want to touch upon. And again, you could spend an hour on the
Oh,
pool, on the soccer field, and in the track, but just huge shout outs. We'll do speed rounds. Ledecky, gold, 800, 1500 meter, crying, the most decorated female athlete in US history. I, I,
I
there's just no words.
no words.
But my stress level, Ariana Titmus from Australia, who's just a baller. She's
Baller.
amazing. The 1500 meters, I'm like, I felt pretty confident,
Very confident. Very confident.
like I'm swimming in the next lane with Ledecky. But the 800 meters, I was crying
Stressful.
like a baby. Stress. I mean, it's just one of those things where you think, this is just a really random reference, but I remember being a huge Andy Roddick fan. And Andy
Oh,
Roddick was so good, but he played in the era of like Nadal and Federer. And
yeah.
he couldn't, I mean, he did win the US Open on his 21st birthday. I remember like that.
Right.
That
I
was
was
huge.
so sweet.
But like you think, Titmus, no, Titmus has won some golds and stuff, but it's just like any swimmer in the era of Ledecky,
Right.
you're
Well, that's
like
got like a gymnast in the era of Simone
Andrade.
Biles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was so excited when Andrade got the goal, because it's like, you're competing in an era of like the greatest of all time, any male swimmer in the Phelps era. But like you look at Ledecky and you're like, even if 15, like people, they competed, but she's touching the end line and people are just getting in the pool. That's what
Yes.
like it
Well, and then
wasn't
when
at
you look
20 seconds like it was in prelims, but still, it was
at
amazing.
at the 15, at the 15 on the 1500 meter, when you realize when they put her numbers up, she wins the gold. They put her numbers up and that she holds 1
That
through
was
20. So
amazing.
the first through the 20th place times to beat, and it's this year, 2024, her 2024 Olympics, is the first time that she came in eighth. So was I'm saying that right? She came in eighth.
Yeah.
They estimated that the next time someone is to beat any of her times, so 1 through 20, will be, if that athlete stays competitive long enough, will be 2054. Will be the first time someone would be even open to beating a Katie Ledecky time, 1 through 20.
That's
That tells you just the magnitude of
yeah.
what we witnessed. And I don't think a lot of people understand, because we're in such a fast paced age of like, give me information right now. Oh, that's cool. You don't realize the work, and that she left Stanford to go to Florida because she just felt it was a better training. And after watching Bobby Fink last night and watching them,
Oh,
they trained together
amazing.
and he won
Yeah.
in the 1500. It's amazing to watch her confidence level now from like 2012. Right. And I know she was a little baby in 2012, but I
Yeah.
mean, just really standing in her own of going, I am the greatest. And she's so lovely and gracious and inclusive.
Her post, like her comments after the 1500, when they're like, she was saying, like, they're like, what do you think about? And she said, well, this Olympics, I thought about every single person that's helped me in my life. I was like, oh my God, I'm going down. I'm going down. She was like, I was thinking about all the coaches. I was thinking about all the guys that train with me in Florida to keep me going. And I'm literally sobbing. She's holding it together, completely stoic. I mean, you have to like separate your emotions. That's why I can never be an Olympic athlete, because
No,
I would
it'd
just
be
be
a
crying the
snotty
whole time.
mess. Me too.
But yeah, just amazing. And also a big shout out. The last event to go was the 4x100 men's. Unfortunately, we got the silver on that. But then the 4x100
Women's medley.
women medley,
Y'all,
Reagan
it was
Smith,
so
Lily
good.
King, Gretchen Walsh, and Tori Husk.
Oh,
World
y'all,
record last event women's relay. It was so
it was
badass.
so badass. I was screaming. We were in the living room screaming. And it was so
Screaming.
funny because y'all, I didn't know. Like this is so don't judge. This is where my southern shows sometimes. I was like, oh, how darling. Because I've been worried to death they're gonna catch the cold. And that they don't have enough to eat. My husband keeps going, you do realize they're trained athletes. There's people to tend to all that. I go, I feel like everybody doesn't have enough snacks. But I didn't know when they got in the pool, I saw freestyle medley. So I went, I said, oh, I thought they just got to choose. And Jason's like, hey, this is the Olympics. They don't all of a sudden be like, my bad, I'm going to backstroke. He goes, no, it goes backstroke. Then and he was explaining it to me, and I was laughing my butt off because I was trying to figure out why they chose the order they chose.
Yeah.
And apparently that's always been the order. I didn't know if it like got
Yeah.
mixed up, but watching the care and the absolute team, I can't put it into words. You saw it last night. We were screaming.
Yeah.
And it was so amazing to watch, not because obviously we won a world record, but because the level at which these women swam.
Oh, it wasn't even close.
As one unit. I think that's what was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, individual sport, but the relays are so fun, and the mixed, like two dudes, like I loved it all. But those women to cap off the last event in swimming after the men unfortunately didn't get it, and they were under all this
silver.
after 1 in 100 years. Yes. But I hate that silver is a disappointment. I've been saying this day one. It's an amazing accomplishment. Silver, bronze, even 8th place is amazing. You medal it all. Yes. But and Tori Husk just killing it. Also, a big shout out to Summer McIntosh, 17 years old, gold after gold in Canada. Oh my God, she had this little baby face. She was so sweet.
She was so precious. She's gonna be dangerous.
She's
dangerous,
gonna be,
y'all.
Yeah, she's gonna take over it. Okay, quick shout out to soccer, and then we'll do Sha'Carri Richardson, Trinity Rodman. Listen, we don't have a gazillion hours to talk about this. I just want to say this. This is my new soccer theory. I'm just going to shout it out, and we'll keep it moving. If your team, your game plan, Japan did this, Australia did this, Colombia warm up to our Olympics did this, is to do the low block, 5 defenders, and then it feels like 17 defenders at one time, and then like a 5-4-9, 5-4-1, 5-3-2, and you're going to concede possession for 70-80% of the game, and you're going to look for a mistake and a breakaway. If that's your strategy, which is the most boring to watch as a fan, then you should start 1 goal down. Because I can't take it anymore. The low block is the biggest buzzkill in soccer.
Well said.
I thought it's usually 0-0, but now these games can't end in 0-0. So I'm like, okay, it harks back to 2016 Sweden. I still have some PTSD. They knew they couldn't beat us, so they 75 people in the defense, and they played for penalty kicks, and they beat us, and that was Hope Solo's last game, and I'm still angry about it 8 years later. So if Germany tomorrow goes into this low block crap, we should get a goal. We should get an automatic goal, and they should be playing down 0-1. That's my new theory.
I smell someone's going to be on the Olympic Federation committee. I don't know, y'all. We should petition, but I think E. Foley's going to be our newest, what do they call it? Research judge?
Reference panel, whatever.
Yep, that's you now.
Yeah, especially Trish, I can't handle that style of game. I got up at 5:45 like a goddamn champion, and I had to watch this defensive block bullshit. Thank God for Trinity Rodman. Shout out to Rodman. It was one of the most beautiful goals I've ever seen. Then I had to panic because now every goal, does it count? Does it VAR offsides? But it counted. Also, I just want to say FIFA sucks so much because red card on Marta. Now she can't play both games, quarters and semis. I can't handle it. Okay. Sha'Carri Richardson, under all the pressure in the world, I hope she is proud of herself. She did not get the gold, but she got the silver, and she looked so nervous, and she did good, and I want to hold her.
I agree. I'm one that's going to ask you that. My husband, right before they got on the blocks, he looked at me. He goes, "Do you think she looks dialed in or nervous?" And I said, "Nervous." I've been there, not on like a world stage because I'm the fastest woman in the world. But I mean, I saw the breath is what I meant. I've seen the breath of like I should be more present, and you're in a different kind of mindset. And I went, "It's okay." And I just saw her go. And you know this too. There's a moment sometimes, and everybody's probably done it. We're certainly not Olympians, when you go in your head, and you could see that kind of moment. And I thought, it's okay. It's okay. But look, and it wasn't like she got marginally beat. Shout out. What was it? St. Lucia? I forget.
Julian Alfred of St. Lucia. St. Lucia's first medal. That was so sweet.
And watching that country lose a teeny tiny island nation, y'all, and you thought they had just won everything and then some. So I was like, good, you know what? Good. It'll push Sha'Carri to do all that and more, in LA, which I hate to have to say that when you're like, oh, why is this screen doing crazy mess? Sorry, y'all. But I think it will really push her. I'm I do have a question, and I've wondered this because I love glam. Everybody, I'd be out there with a full beat. That's why I love Rebecca Andrade. I love a full eye. I too would be an Olympian out there with all of the makeup. I'd have a lash on. I completely agree with the level of glam happening in our Olympics. If you don't, it's okay. It's not for you. But I'm here for the vibe. But can I ask a question? Because this is where I get so concerned. Some of the fastest women in the world have so much hair. And I'm like, doesn't that slow you down? I'm genuinely asking. I mean, it didn't slow down Flojo. Flojo used to have hair for days, but I've always wondered, is that something that's causing drag? Like a literal logistic, I'm asking. Anybody know?
I'd like the phone lines to open here because
Please.
I say this every single day. I don't understand. Obviously, they're all braids, but or a weave, but isn't is it the lightest amount of material you can get for hair? I don't understand.
Well,
I
just
don't understand. It's so long.
An amount, because I love a weave, girl. I've got tracks in right now. Your girl has 2 good pieces of hair, and I tape mine in, and I don't have like I wish I could put in a gorgeous Lady Godiva mane, but y'all be like, Trish, not real. So I put in like enough tracks to live my life. So I'm saying this because I can barely run down the corner of the block. Again, not an Olympian. I don't think my little tiny weave is weighing me down, but I genuinely wonder if the actual physical logistics of hair makes it heavy. Like, because my tracks are get heavy when I put in a lot. So I'm wondering why. Because I'm here for the nails. I'm here for the
absolutely. They all look so beautiful, but I just don't even Trinity Rodman had like thick. It felt like really thick hair. And I'm like, but you're so fast. I don't know. The Sha'Carri thing, though, one real quick thing, and then we'll wrap it up. She was putting her hair back as they were lining up. And I thought, what?
That's okay. That's why I was asking. You thought she did the twirl of her hair like a bun?
She did the twirl. But the thing about
might be a nervous
I was like,
tick. I do that mess too, like messing with.
But it was but it was down, and then she put it up at the last second, and I thought, don't you want to put your, like, if I don't have a hair, I don't even have long hair, but if I don't have a hair elastic on me at all times, I lose my mind. Like I can't even, I have never worked out a day in my life where I didn't have my hair back. And so it's mind blowing to me that they're able to do this. It's like when you're watching an action film and the woman doesn't have her hair back and you're like, that's complete bullshit. I'm sorry. You can't jump off a roof with your fucking hair in your face. Like I lose my mind. So I don't know what the answer is, but I did think putting your hair back at the last second, I thought, I just got so nervous for her because I was just like,
that's why I was asking. I went, now's the time for the bun. And then the next thing that went through my head was somebody hand her a scrunchie. Like, I was like, she's trying to clip something.
Yeah. And shout out to Melissa Jefferson getting the bronze. They were training, all 3 women that trained in Florida. After you saw the sprint series on Netflix, it was so good. 3 of them trained together. Oh, you would love it. And she got the bronze, and that was super, super feel good. You
and I could have done a 4-hour episode.
We could have done a 4-hour episode, but I felt like we covered a lot, and I'm going to give you a gold medal for this, Trish.
Erin Foley, so much to me.
A huge thank you to Trish Suhr. I mean, she is a goddamn delight. I love that woman. That was the Fast and Furious approach to I don't know, capturing all of as many women's sports as we possibly could capture in an hour. She's a champion. Love her so much. If you want to follow Trish Suhr, all her social media is at Trish Suhr. Tour dates, Find My Country House, all of their information. It's always at Trish Suhr. So look her up and go see her live because she is absolutely fantastic. Okay, her lighters, it's time for the feel good moment of the week. This was a no-brainer. This is going to be one of my favorite moments of any Olympics. And that is Simone Biles, Jordan Chiles, and Rebecca Andrade at the podium following their floor event. It was the last event in women's gymnastics. Rebecca gets the gold medal, Simone Biles, silver, Jordan Chiles, bronze. They get to the podium, right? And Rebecca's about to go up there to receive her gold medal. And Simone Biles and Jordan Chiles just bow to her. And she has this moment. This was her first Olympic gold medal. She came in second place in the individual. She's one of the most outstanding gymnasts I've ever seen. And she just go back and watch her flow routine. It is absolutely epic and filled with joy. And then they bow to her. She steps up on the podium. She grabs their hands. Oh my God, this is when I just started bawling. And they all have this moment of like epic respect and camaraderie and joy and love for their sport. It was just this like amazing moment, you know, that signified like Simone's comeback, Chiles' perseverance. Rebecca now will go down. She's the most decorated Brazilian in any Olympic sport. First gold medal. I mean, absolutely epic moment. It gets better. The first all-black podium in Olympic gymnastics history. Mic drop. Unbelievable. This photo of the three of them on the podium, for me, is the moment of the 2024 Paris Olympics. Congratulations to Simone and Jordan and Rebecca. Ah, so inspiring and so wonderful. And that is our show, people. Fans, friends, family, have the best week of your life.